everyone used to say Tarkov was the Dark Souls of FPS games. Like, think about that. Like, think about Elden Ring or those Dark Souls games. You're always 100% of the time in the game, experiencing the game. But like, that's the rub with Tarkov right now. It's like people say, you know, people hear that it's supposed to be hard, it's supposed to be brutal, it's supposed to be the Dark Souls of that game, and then and it's like, and then people try to defend to us in chat. Oh, that scav totally should have one-tapped you with his Makarov from 200 meters away, man. Game's supposed to be hard. Oh, you're supposed to get the move error bug, bro. You never know when you move something in your stash if it's gonna stick. Like, it's supposed, no, like, you're supposed to feel like you're in the game at all times. Experience the game wants you to experience at all times. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pogcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm Veritas, here with the guy that stole your wife and or your girlfriend in high school, because, you know, the exchange student with the British accent was always stealing all the girls.
Always.
We're here with Dan. How the fuck are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm a little bit tired. It's about 2 hours past bedtime for me, but I thought, well, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Why not come and hang out with the boys? So here we are. And if I fall asleep on the show, guys, then just give me a quick nudge or a shout or something. Yeah, be fine.
Did you just say once in a lifetime opportunity?
Well, it is for me. This is a big deal for me.
I'm just gonna have you on next week.
Just to prove
wrong. No, I appreciate it, guys. It's good to be here, and I'm looking forward to chatting away.
Yeah, Dan's content is some of my favorite content. His streams are always like super chill, super informative. He's always helping people. One of the more interactive in game with his community. Like, you're always going into raids with people, and I don't know if you're like helping them with quests or you just memeing and having fun with squads or whatever. But yeah, excellent content. One of the smartest guys in the community for sure.
Also, quite the Tarkov photographer. You've been posting some of those screenshots recently. And dude, it's, you've hit a good screenshot when all the comments on Twitter are like, what Unity assets are you using? And Dan's always like, nah, dude, I'm just throwing gear on the ground 100 times until it lands perfectly. And then I'm taking a screenshot and I'm like, bro, they're so sick.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, actually. I'm part of the car community here in the UK, like the modified car community and stuff like that. And I've been doing my own photography. Like, I like doing stuff myself. I'm always a hands-on guy. I fix my car. I work on stuff around the house or whatever it is. I'll always try and do it myself first. And I've been using Lightroom, which is where I edit all of my photos for the car. And I was like, what's going to happen if I just slap a Tarkov screenshot in there and see what I can do, mess around with the lighting and change like depth of field effects and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. Like, I'm not swapping anything out. I'm just taking what the game gives us and just kind of like making it more suitable and more sort of like pleasing to the eye with different, like shadow and highlights changes and stuff like that. And yeah, dude, it's been an amazing experience. The feedback from the community has been amazing. Like you say, seeing people say, how did you get these images? My game doesn't look like that. And it's like, it does look like that when you max it out. I know, obviously, we can't all play with maxed out settings and stuff. But if you max it out and take a couple of screenshots here and there, guys, like, you'll have the exact same thing. The only thing that I'm doing different is I'm just using a little bit of exposure and a little bit of highlight, shadows, and some depth of field tricks. That is literally it. But it's amazing to see how far the game has come.
It's so funny. Years. It's so funny. People are always like, "Oh my God, your game looks so good. How does your game look so good?" It's like I just don't turn all the settings off. You know what I mean? It's like I have a 3090 and I get 60 frames per second. That's how my game looks so good. You know what I mean? It's like I would rather sacrifice the 10-15 FPS for like a more aesthetically pleasing game. And especially since I'm like on a dime always grabbing screenshots for thumbnails. I want them to look as good as possible. So it's just so funny because a lot of people are always like, how do you get the max FPS? It's like, well, turn everything off. It's like, but why does your game look so good? It's like, I don't turn everything off. Like, just
yeah. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it. Do you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to this sort of thing, it's all it's just like a trade-off, isn't it? If you want it
Yeah.
to look great, you know, you're going to sacrifice some of those frames because your PC is working harder to deliver such quality each frame, right? But if you know how it is, guys. But yeah, it's been great, man. The response from the community has been incredible, and you know, it's been a lot of fun, and seeing people's positive comments about the game and how the game looks like I just think it's great. It's nice to see some positivity and good energy for sure.
For sure.
Do you have your post effects, like no post effects on when you take the raw pictures that you then edit later, or do you actually have some post effects?
I have no post effects at all. I don't play with post effects either.
Nice.
Right on. Yeah. So regarding frames, like I found that over 60 FPS, like unless there's one of those stutters where all of a sudden it jumps down to 30 or 40 or whatever, the difference between 60 and 150 FPS, I feel no difference. Like I don't notice when I'm playing Tarkov. It all just feels the same.
Most of the
me.
time, I agree. Like people ask me what my FPS is, and I genuinely don't know. Like I don't know how to respond because I'm like I keep it off so often, and it's anywhere between, depending on where I'm looking on any map, anywhere between like 65 and 85, and I don't know. And yeah, of course, if I go labs or factory, I'm gonna get 120, and normally that's when I feel it. I'm like, look at this, nice and smooth, because it's like 120 consistent. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried too much about frames. But
I'm gonna have to mess around with Lightroom though for sure, and that's one thing that I'm such a noob when it comes to photography, videography, and like image editing. Like I've spent the last couple of years just like learning even basic video editing.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until the audio video that I did was the first time I actually like looked at the ISO of a fucking camera and like the shutter speed.
That's
and
so
like,
funny.
You know, and even then
so
it like
funny.
wasn't perfect, but I was pretty happy. I was actually, I mean, I lied. You know, ISO and is like one of the few things I've ever touched because it's just like the easiest way to like make something brighter. You know, it really surprised me. You know, like one of the things I've wondered for so long is how do these pictures, you know, whether they're headshots or whatever, why do they look so good? And it blows my mind that it's like, oh, just turn the ISO down to 200 and then have a buttload of lights.
Yep.
It never occurred to me that you know what I mean? That was the case. I'd always have the ISO at 1600 and then it's like, oh, I don't need any lights, but it also looks like shit. You know? But it just never occurred to me, you know, until I went and actually looked at some of the lighting. And I literally just Googled like Rembrandt lighting tutorial like 10 minutes before I recorded the voiceover.
That's
video.
so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, dude. I got just like really quick nerd moment here. Towards the end of me being able to do like my videography work that I did, I got to work. So like, you know how like cameras you can shoot in RAW, and the RAW picture is normally a lot flatter, but it has a lot more information there, which is a lot better for editing. Well, I got to film in RAW. So like shooting video is just 24, 30, 60 pictures in a second, right? That's all it is. But I got to work with some cameras that filmed in RAW, and
like red cameras.
No, they were Blackmagic cameras, but which are like the affordable red cameras. But that meant like the flexible. So like in a picture, on a picture when you take in RAW, that means adjusting things like tint is a non-destructive edit. You're not manipulating the picture. You're just manipulating the information around the picture. There's that same thing in video. In Premiere, I could adjust the ISO of my footage.
Yeah.
In post. Like it was insane. I could change the ISO of the camera in Premiere while I was editing the video. It was nuts.
It feels like to me that's nuts. Like similar to like vector graphics in a way.
Like infinitely scalable. Dude, it was so fun. But nerd stuff aside, how's Tarkov been feeling for you recently, Dan? We're like 3 months into 12-12. How you been vibing it?
Yeah,
or
man.
Are you just playing Elden Ring and you're like, screw Tarkov?
No, honestly, mate, I've got like 5 hours in Elden Ring. I can't get to grips with it, dude. It's like, everyone's like, Dan, try it. And I was like, you know, the only real experience I've had with like a Soulsborne game was Neo. I played quite a bit of Neo 1 and 2, and I really enjoyed it. You know, I'm a huge fan of It's like a Japanese medieval kind of.
Was it made by them, FromSoft? Did they make that game, or was it like a?
I think it's Ninja Theory.
Okay.
I might be completely talking out my ass.
I don't know. I'm with you though. I have no experience with it either.
It's good. It's good. I definitely check it out. I got on a lot better with Neo than I did with with Elden Ring, I just got absolutely destroyed. Like I got to the boss on the bridge. I think his name's like some crazy name. I don't know. And I was like super underleveled, and it was starting to piss me off. I was like, why can't I beat this boss? Because I'm here. It didn't occur to me like being like the first kind of open world game in this kind of thing that I've experienced. Like it didn't occur to me that I could just go off and do something else. Right? I was just like, I have to beat this boss. I have to, and it just pissed me off so much. And I was like, right, we're gonna go just do something else. And then, like I say, I've got about 5 hours or so in Elden Ring. Beautiful game. I'm not 100%. You know, it hasn't clicked for me yet. So
I totally get that.
You know, yeah, exactly. And jump back into Tarkov. Obviously, I'm like 99.99% Tarkov on stream, or video games in general.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years. But yeah, no. To answer your question, it's been awesome. No, it's been a lot of fun. Like I've really enjoyed I know there's a lot of going on with regards to like weapon balancing and ammo and inertia and all this sort of thing. But what I will say is like, in spite of these things that are happening in the game at the moment, you know, it's made me go, okay, so this isn't working for me at the moment. You know, 5.56 isn't working for me right now. I'm going to go and try different stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, whenever I'm posed with like a problem or an issue, or like, you know, oh, here's a change in what you're used to, I'll go, okay, how can I get around this issue, rather than you know, beat myself up and you know, if I'm using 5.56 and it's not working, I'll go use 760 NATO, or I'll try 5.45 or 9mm or 45 or whatever it is, you know. So I think 12.12 for me has been a really good opportunity to like branch out, you know, use DMRs, use bolt action sniper rifles. Like my bolt action skill is the highest it's ever been in 4.5 years, because you know, not only have we got the rogues to you know, practice sniping on and stuff like that, but you know, my usual weapons and stuff that I usually use just have kind of taken a back seat, and I'm really enjoying just like the variety of what's available. And yeah, man, Lighthouse is an incredible location. Inertia feels good. I think it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but like the idea, like the concept of having weight, having mass to your character is, I think, a really important concept to nail. And I think BSU will get it right. You know, but for me personally, like I don't mind, man. I'll just deal with it. You know. It doesn't bother me, dude. Like if I get posed with a problem in Tarkov, I'll just work through it. Do you know what I'm saying? And
nah, dude, if you don't like it, you need to demand that it gets changed
on Twitter and Reddit exclusively.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, you need them Twitter likes.
No, I feel you, man, and I agree. I think it feels good, and I think I think that's just like a mentality thing that I agree. Like I like trying new things, you know what I mean? So you don't normally catch me being like, oh man, I miss the golden age of the, you know, X gun, the HK, the M4, the Vector, the whatever. I like trying new things, like, you know what I mean? And I think Absolutely. Like, well, we've been talking about, and Veritas, we've talked about the other day, like how much the recoil numbers are like so arbitrary and so meaningless. Like, you know what I mean? 33 recoil on a Vector feels so different than on an HK, feels different than an M4 and a Mutant, and even between guns that shoot the same caliber, 33 vertical. Like it's a meaningless number. So when people are always asking me like, what's a good like gun build, I'm always just like, dude, go with what you feel. And what's crazy is that like over the past 2 weeks, the gun that I've gone on the most streaks with, the most like 8, 9, 10 like PvP focused streaks with, has been the AK-101. One of like most least used guns in the game. And it's just like, I get it back in insurance and I'm like, I'll run this, die with it, and then run something else. And my 6-hour stream will be over and I'll be like, well, we still have the AK-101. And it's like, I don't know why, the numbers, whatever, it's just fun. It just feels good to me. It shoots slow enough. It's like, I like it. So yeah, and nobody uses the AK-101, you know what I mean? So I like that too. I like just being confronted with like, oh, this is different now. Well, what else is good then, maybe? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so.
I absolutely agree, man.
Yeah.
Nothing feels better than the SR25 for me. right now.
Feels real good.
The SR25 and just any of the 7.62 by 39 variants, they feel solid. There's been a lot of content and stuff. I know Tweak recently made a video. A lot of people that have been talking about US ammo, which for the longest time was a fucking meme because of all of the during all of the debacles with FOV and zeroing and everything. When I did the testing, and you found out that like at 100 yards, if you wanted to shoot at 100 yards, if you had like an LPVO, you would need to zero for like 300 and aim like 7 mil dots high.
Yeah.
And then you'd hit like your target because it just dropped so much. It was god awful. And then I mean that was the one round that really made it obvious that there were issues with zeroing, because it was the only bullet that had such a drastic change in velocity within one caliber. Most of the bullets are all, either they're all subsonic or, it's supersonic. Is that the opposite of subsonic?
Mm-hmm.
Supersonic. Or they were, maybe within 20, 25, 30 meters per second. Whereas that was like 350 meters per second compared to all of the other 7.62 by 39 rounds, which usually like twice that.
Yep. But then they added the recoil. That's what they added.
Yeah. So
minus
Tweak's video
30 recoil.
Yeah. So his video showed how basically like you can have a modestly modified AK build or mutant build with like a drum mag fully US, and because I think it's limited to like something ridiculous, like you can buy like 900 or 700 per reset or whatever, and I think it has 29 pen, which is not bad. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not bad. And it was just that it has like no recoil, or at least compared to most 7.62 by 39. Although I have been working on the next episode of History of Tarkov and looking back at 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, the recoil there is like, that's no recoil.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can just fucking unload a whole drum mag full without any problem. I ended up trying it out, and it was just like, not that it's bad, but there's very few cases. Maybe if I was with a squad and I wanted to lay down suppressing fire.
Yeah.
But there's very few cases where I want to be shooting 5, 10, 15 bullets at a time. I'd rather have PS ammo and just go like tap, tap, tap at, at their head rather than hold down mouse one.
That's the thing though, is that like, so I did a video on this recently too. It's the same thing. It's like PS has 32 pen and US has 29 pen. So I would sacrifice 3 pen for 30 recoil all day. You know what I mean? Because like, I can just like, because the minus 30 recoil means I can just hit you in the face more often. You know what I mean? Like consistently, instead of going pop, pop, I can just hold it down and just like, so me and Seal ran it the other day and we were just like laying out people, and it's only 1 flesh damage difference too.
Okay. That's what I was going to check.
Yeah. One less than PS on flesh, 3 less than PS on pen, and you can buy 800 or reset. So it is basically just for the memes. It's the full auto, like, run factory, run dorms, run shoreline resort, and it's just like you can just hold mouse one and swing corners, and you're aim punching people, and they just like can't shoot you back. It's so fun.
Like the good old days.
Luckily, I've been able to. I haven't run out of BP, so I've just been running that.
Bro,
but,
yeah, I have like 3,000 rounds. I don't even know where they came from. The rogues spawn with them so often.
Yeah, for me, I finally like bit the bullet and did the thing that I haven't wanted to do for like ever, which is every time I get out of a raid, it's like I look at all the traders and go buy shit for like a week from now, right? Like, I basically will go therapist and I'll buy out all the Propitols, Saluas, and a labs card, and then I'll go over to Prapor and I'll buy BP 7.62 by 39. And then I go to, what the hell's the Peacekeeper, and I will buy all of the M80 rounds. I don't buy M62 unless I'm really, really low. You know, if I have like a bunch of DMRs and I'm really low, then maybe I'll spend. It's just they're so fucking expensive. $8 a round is ridiculous. But yeah, so I've just been going around. I don't usually buy 5.56, but I do go to Skier and buy the 855A1, the 90.
Yeah, because it's
every
like
now and
500
then.
rubles. Yeah.
Yeah, but as annoying as it is, because I end up, I just don't want to do it, because what happens is I find I end up with so much extra shit at some point where it's like, oh, you know, I just don't want to use M4s anymore, and I've got 5,000 rounds of ammo, and it's like, ugh, and I just end up selling it because I, you know, don't want to buy any more ammo cases or whatever. But it's been paying off.
Yep. Dude, it's absolutely worth it. I do the same thing. I've got ammo cases full of stuff. It's just so that I can run whatever I want whenever I want it. If I want to switch to a P90, if I want to switch to 5.56, if I want to switch, it's not like, oh, I can buy 90 rounds and that's it. You know what I mean? I can just know that I've got the stuff, because it's weird.
Yeah, it's nice. You know, I think it's great that we have the option to kind of stock up as we can. Like, I know that, you know, personal limits, global limits and whatnot, that, you know, these mechanics have come under scrutiny quite a lot, and rightly so. You know, I think it can be very frustrating for a lot of players that want to run certain ammo, or they want to, you know, they've got only a certain time to play. Maybe they can't get on so often to, you know, to buy stuff from the traders. But I think, you know, the positive side of these limits, and exactly what I was saying previously, it kind of makes you go, right, I'm running out of 7.62 NATO now. What am I going to switch to next? I know. I'm going to go and try 45 for a bit, or I'm going to go for like some 9mm rip. And by the time I've burnt through that ammo, mechanic's going to be back up. I can buy some, you know, whatever I want from mechanic, or you know, Peacekeeper's going to be back up with the M80, which is a phenomenal round for the price, by the way. And I hope BSG don't hear this, because they're, you know, I've been holding on to that round for the last, like, you know, 2 or 3 years, and
100%.
it's so good for the price. Like, M80, dude, is you know, even after the Thorax HP buff that you guys will remember, you know, you used to one-tap the Thorax pretty much, you know, consistently, and you'd be running around with an SA-58 just destroying and deleting people. But even now, and especially now with 12.12, because of the lack of we're not really seeing class 5 and 6 armors as much as previous wipes. You know, everyone's running the MMAC or the Strandhog, and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people are commenting on the balance and stuff like this at the moment. But I think the beauty of the situation, like just looking at the positive of the current situation, is like we have so much more variety, at least in my experience. Like, I'm seeing people run weapons that I haven't seen in a long time. You know, it's been really, really cool.
I still don't understand all of this balance conversation stuff. Like, honestly, we have more options than we ever have, but it feels exactly as balanced as it's always been, right? Like, back in the day when nobody was using the Val and the VSS, and then all of a sudden it became the meta for whatever reason. It was like, it's been good for the last 2 years, and nobody used it for whatever reason.
7.62 BP, 7.62 BP's stats, I don't think have changed for like ever. It's just like there was that wipe where they gave us like 600 rounds of it at the beginning of the wipe, so everybody was using it, and because everyone was using it, everyone's like, yo, this is OP, and it's like, it has always been this good. You were just told by whatever, YouTube or Twitch, that this gun was better, so you use this gun and you never use this gun. Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up. But like, it's so funny to see. It's so funny to see the how polarizing those opinions are. Of like Dan, I kind of align with you, where I feel like I'm using more guns than normal, and not just like zoning in on like the M4, the HK. The M4 was my crutch for 5-6 wipes. I love the M4, dude, because you can mod it out so many different ways, and it was all still good. Most of these guns have like one meta build, and everything else is kind of harder to use, and so I loved the M4 for that. But now I don't have that crutch. I feel like I'm using a lot. But now on Twitter, there's so much of this, like, there's so much of that, like, the gun needs balancing, like, it's so inconsistent. I'm only dying to 7.62 BP. I'm only dying to M62. And it's really, I don't know, man, it's really interesting to hear how that is, because at the end of the day, And I've even, because last week, Veritas, I was like mauling. I was like so pissed at like this whole thread on Twitter just from so many people about how like Tarkov feels terrible and the gun balance is awful and PvP is terrible. And I'm just like, and I was thinking like, how could you be having that experience? My experience with this wipe has been so much fun. And I've actually this past week, I've been like DMing these guys because I like adjacently know a lot of these guys or interact with them or like their YouTube videos or whatever. So a lot of times I'll like DM them. And when you get down to it, there's like so much more to it. A lot of times people are just like mauling on Twitter, which is understandable, right? Sometimes you just want a place to just like yell or whatever. And a lot of the times if you get down to it, I feel like there's two things. There's one where there's a lot more common ground between the like Chads and the Rats than people think when you get down to it. And then two, I think the other thing is that it's just applying a different mindset to the game. Like Tarkov, I just don't feel, and I could be wrong here, I just don't feel like Tarkov is a game engineered to be min-maxed. Like, we've talked about gun balance before and how, like, there will never be gun balance. There will never be gun balance like there's gun balance in Valorant, right? Because in Valorant, there's, like, 12 guns. And because of that, they can balance them so well. But in Tarkov, there's 150 guns. There's new guns coming in every patch. There's new calibers coming every other patch. You know, Nikita's like, I want all the guns. And it's just like, there will never be gun balance. There will never be a gun balance because there's just too many guns. There's too many calibers. Each caliber has too many rounds. It's impossible. And so if you min-max Tarkov, yeah, it's like basically use 7.62 BP or M62 because M61 is like, you just can't get enough of it. And if you've got 8,000 rounds and you've already got Kappa, you're probably only dying to 7.62 BP because you're killing everybody that's not as good as you. Like when people say they only die to 7.62 BP, it's like I die to stuff all the time because I'm not running around with Risties and Forts. I'm not as good as you. I die to all sorts of calibers, man. You know what I mean? But you just kill all those people. And then the only guy that's able to kill you has 7.62 BP or M62. So I feel like we've got these like vastly different experiences from the guys who are, I'm not saying it's wrong. You can do whatever you want. You can but like they apply this min-max mentality to Tarkov. And I just feel like those people will never really truly be satisfied, I think, because I just don't think it's possible to balance this many guns. I don't know.
No, as soon as you balance them, I mean, yeah, there's too many options, and there's nothing they can do. Well, I mean, here's part of it. I think it's actually far more balanced already than they think in many ways, given that pretty much every gun, there's a round that'll kill you in 1 to 2 shots.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Like when the time to kill is so fast in this game, unless you're comparing a Makarov to, you know, a SR-25, I just don't see it. Like pretty much every gun is viable.
Yes.
And especially if you're aiming for the head, 1 to 2 bullets and pretty much anybody's dead with, you know, the top couple of rounds. Otherwise, you know, 40% of a second someone's done if you're just spraying center mass like with a you know, any of the SMGs. So I mean, I just don't really see like what people are, and again, I'm not actually like seeing what people are saying, the ones who are complaining about the balance. Like what are people complain? Is it different than back in the day? People were complaining about the VSS being everywhere, or they were complaining about the FAL, you know, the SA-58 being everywhere, or the HK being everywhere? Is it just the same shit, or is it different?
I mean, the sentiment is largely there are only 2 good guns that are usable, and it's the, you know, the SR-25 and the Mutant, or, you know, insert DMR here like the M1A, and it's like. And the sentiment, once again, whether it's like everybody just needs a good mold sometimes, or whether these people genuinely think that, the sentiment is largely like, that's it. Like if you want to be good, you have to use 7.62 BP or M62, but that's it. And it's like, no, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's just not the case.
Yeah.
But that just happens to be what a lot of people are using because it's like trendy or whatever.
Yeah.
If somebody went and made a video talking about how, the P90 was the best thing, and look at the ammo and look at these builds and how great they are, then all of a sudden a bunch of people would be using it, and then all of a sudden you'd be dying to it and you'd be
Yeah.
looting it a whole lot more, and then it would feel like everybody was using it, which is exactly what happened with the Val.
Yeah.
The Val, it was exactly what happened with the MP7 when it, started to be a lot better with some of the ammo buffs that came out. But my issue mostly, to come back to what Dan was talking about earlier, I don't mind. It's one of those things like not quite the rich get richer or the grass is greener, but some of the issues with limits on things, the spotlight is shined directly on them when you die 3 raids in a row.
Yeah.
Like when I go and I say, okay, I'm sick of dying, I'm having a bad couple of days, I keep going through my gear and I'm so sick of having to just build kits. Like I've been doing viewer kits because I can't stand dying to some bullshit and then going to having to buy all the stuff again, right? The worst part, one of the worst parts of this game is how it's like, okay, let's say I wanted to build. Back in the day, you used to be able to buy 10 full kits worth of stuff, build 10 of the same gun, and it just made it so that you can play the game a bunch, and not have to worry about constantly spending time in traders and building guns. And there comes a point where you just want to raid. Yep. So when you go and you build a gun in the preset system, and as shitty as it is, and then you go and it's like, oh, there's the hand grip has a limit of 3, the optic has a limit of 2, the gun has a limit of 2, and then the ammo, you can maybe buy 180 rounds, and then it's like, so you build 2 of them, and then you've got, some parts left over or whatever. You die 2 raids in a row, and now it's like, I guess I can't run 308 anymore because I went through all of the reasonably priced rounds and I died instantly with the 2 guns. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go and use MP7s or whatever. So I buy a bunch of magazines, spend a shit ton of money on the ammo, and then if I go and die a couple of times, it's like, well, now I can't use that anymore, and I got to go to something else. So that's where the limits really bother me. It's just so inconvenient.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, it is inconvenient, but like, being fucking stuck in a shitty post-conflict barricaded blockade region isn't very convenient either. So it's I kind of, I'm always so torn. I'm always so torn between realism and gameplay. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I'm always torn between the two. And whenever I think about something in Tarkov, I always kind of I try and balance it in my brain. I'm like, what does the realistic side of this mechanic bring, and what does the what effect does that have on the gameplay? And that kind of like thinking of it in that way kind of helps me to form my opinion, by weighing up the pros and cons of both sides and then going, this is how I feel about it. It's really annoying for anybody that comes by the stream because they're like, hey Dan, I've got 5 seconds break at work. What do you think about this? I'm like, and then I pull up a spreadsheet and I'm like measuring stuff and I'm, checking out the Tarkov lore and I'm like, well, does it fit into the lore? And it's like, oh, there should only be 800 of these rifles. And it's, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, sometimes you just want to play and you want to use the SA-58. So you want to just have a shit ton of SA-58s, but like you can't, like you just can't do that, dude. Do you know what I mean? And it's a tricky one. And it's like, well, we get back to the problem solving issue. It's like, I'm dying a lot and I'm losing all my ammo that I'm wanting to use. So you got 2 choices. Do you take in 1 less magazine on a raid? Do you take in like a backup shotgun? Do you take a sidearm for taking out the scavs? Like I've been running a little USP 45 doing, I'll take like a loud Scar H or something. And then if I come up against a scav, I'll just like pull out the USP and I'll go like solid snake. And I'm just like, and like just having a good time. And then, when I do come up across like a PMC or a player scav or something, someone that you can't just have a bit of fun with a pistol with, and you actually go, okay, I gotta fucking pay attention now.
Yeah.
I'll pull out the Scar H, and if I burn through all my ammo, then I'm like, shit, I've got no ammo left. I'm gonna have to run something else to the next raid. But it's tricky because there's nothing fun, there's nothing engaging, especially in Tarkov, when you lose. Not necessarily long term, but it's like the short term loss of that stuff, because it's like, I can't use that now. Like I have to buy all my other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It's a loss of time, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about losing the gear. I've never, not never, but at least in the last 2 years, I don't care about losing gear. I completely have no gear fear, but it's like, it's the time. It's you. I want to play the game.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of, there's so many aspects of the game and how it's designed and everything that have one particular goal, where there's a million other things that totally contradict that, right? Like they want you to be limited to using certain things. But the problem is that affects the individual person 100,000 times more significantly than the community. You're always going to run into 4 dudes running mutants in a customs raid or SR25s. It's not like there's a shortage. Yeah. There's an infinite amount. It's just you can't use it. So when you get fucked by the game because of the things that are video game mechanics, right? Bugs, the shitty AI, all of those issues, the unluckiness of the pure randomness of the game.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck dealing with the preset system and the trader limits and oh god, dude, I can't imagine how miserable it would be if I only had 2 hours to play the game. If I was just a normal player.
And I think that's absolutely it. There's so many things that feed into that issue and feed into what makes that feel bad. And I think Dan, you brought up such a good point, and I constantly vacillate between these two as well. It so much of it comes down to what you expect out of the game and what you expect your experience to be. If you were playing Stalker and you bought a gun and you died, and you bought a gun and you died, and I don't know how obviously I don't know how, I've never played Stalker, so I don't know how it works, but if you're playing a game like Stalker and you walked up and he was sold out of a thing that you wanted to get, you just immediately go, oh, well, what does he have? What do I have access to? I guess I have to use this. How is that going to make me play differently because I only have this now? It's automatically you go into that because your expectation of that is different. It's more, you're more immersed in this world and just but Tarkov oftentimes gives off this vibe, or at least, people do, of that it's almost like this arena shooter. It's all about the PvP. And so I want to use the best. I want to use this gun. I want to use this. And then that can make that experience completely different. And then on top of that, there's exactly so many things. Me and Veritas come back to this so many times where this might be a realistic thing, or this might be a better game mechanic. But as long as these other really bad game mechanics are in the game, it negates any value that this thing would provide. And a great example of that we've been talking about recently is with the scavs. The scav AI is so bad that it can negate other valuable assets of the game. If you have a found in raid, needing to find a thing for a quest that's found in raid. That is a cool mechanic when you think about the intensity that brings. I found the thing I need, the last Amelia Rye croutons. This raid is automatically 10 times more intense. Yes. And when I get, Schwagilaid from 200 meters by a Makarov scav, that has negated the fun that was gonna come from that raid. I didn't get a chance to react. There was no lessons from beyond the grave. Let's break this down. No, that's bullcrap. So on top of the not identity crisis, but on top of the Tarkov is just so interesting because it functions sometimes so well as a fast-paced arena shooter, and it functions sometimes so well as this immersive world where everything is breaking down. You have these two things, and then on top of those things are these terrible things. The audio is terrible, the AI is terrible, and sometimes it negates that, and then that a lot of times drives that frustration you feel, Veritas, where it's you died to crazy netcode, you died to a no audio, and then you died to a scav boss, and then you go back and you're well, now I can't buy the gun I was trying to get. The game just screwed me over 3 times in a row, and I can't use the gun that I set out to use. Okay, cool. And it all
Especially
like
if the quest requires it.
yes, and it's all like yeah, and then that's a whole other level. So it all like wraps up into like it's so much more complicated, but I don't know. I do think that's a good point that it like, you know, if we were playing a single player version of Tarkov Russia 2028 and the gun you need is sold out, you're just like, oh, your expectation is different going into it. And so I don't know. There's so much to it. There's so much to it.
A different perspective on this, I might shed light on kind of part of my frustrations. Remember how back in the day, the flea market sales, when it was the bot apocalypse, all the scripters and everything that everybody was wrong about for so long.
Yeah.
When you put something up for sale and there would be a 60-second countdown.
Yeah.
That would mean 100% of the players looking to buy the thing would all have their mouse ready to click purchase on the one item.
Yeah.
So to 99.9% of the players, it would seem like, oh, I'll never buy it. Like it's a macro, you know, the macro beat me. And it's like, no, just the one guy.
Yeah, out of the 10,000 that needed
someone
it.
Someone has to be first.
Yeah.
Someone has to press it first.
And when the quantity is 1, what are your chances? It's 1 over the number of people waiting to buy the thing. It's the reason why now, when you list stuff, it comes up instantly, which means it's always popping up. So, and if I try to buy the first item, I'll almost always get it's already been purchased, because by the time I've gotten to the screen, looked at the thing, looked at the price, and go to hit purchase, it's been bought already.
Yeah.
But if I buy the third thing on the list every time, I almost never run into the.
Yeah.
I never run it unless I'm sitting on the screen talking to my wife or whatever, and then it's been up and unrefreshed. So the part of the problem is with the trader limits and the reset times for a lot of people and a lot of items. Imagine if it wasn't 90 minutes and everything comes back into stock and your limits reset. And if things were constantly coming in and there was a proper like limit and, you know, I don't know, if it wasn't just on a fucking timer that wasn't 90 minutes. If you have 90 minutes and you're like, today I'm going to spend, you know, an hour playing the game and I want to run the SR25. I've been thinking about it all day. And you build 2 of them or the mutant, right? You build the 2 that you can buy and you get cucked by the game or cheaters or, you know, you just got outplayed. It's like, oh, I've spent 11 minutes playing the game and now I can't do the thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Ugh, that just feels so shitty, you know?
I will say, I actually want to ask both of you guys this. So the other side of this is like how much, because we're talking a lot about like guns, which that makes a lot of sense. Like you're saying, like if they came in more frequently but in smaller amounts, there's something like that, then that would help. Like with I feel like either there's way less people playing Tarkov right now, or they increase the global limit, like how much before it goes off. Like I can boot up Tarkov at any point in the day and go buy 90 rounds of 5.5A1 from Skier. Like, even if there's only 10 minutes left in his timer, I can buy my 90 rounds, and then he resets in 10 minutes, and I can buy my 90 rounds. Like, in the past, like, 2 weeks, there hasn't been a single thing I've gone to buy, and it's sold out. Unless there's maybe, like, 10 minutes or less. Like,
yeah, the global limits are less of an issue.
They may have
now
increased them, which is nice, because that was at least half the problem, where it was like, I missed it. I'm here 3 minutes after the reset and I can't get my ammo because it's all sold out already. That issue, I feel like they, I don't know, fixed. It feels like I don't know if you guys have a different experience if stuff's still sold out for you, but that feels better for me.
No, unless it's like the black key card, which everybody comes in and like, I can never buy it. But yeah, I think the global, I mean, I guess maybe what I was talking about too affects more of the global limits. I don't know. To me, it's maybe less about that and more about just needing to wait, you know, like for Peacekeeper, 2 hours and 20 minutes. You know how easy it is to go through 150 rounds of M80?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and if you're not going to spend $8 or $14 a round, to have to wait 2 hours and 23 minutes to be able to like run 308 again when you get completely fucked. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's only not an issue if you have survived every raid for the last 2 hours and 23 minutes and you're running the gun, you know, and you've run out of ammo like that. is less. It feels less bad than when you don't get to use the things that you bought and you hit the limit.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a solution to that or not. You know, I don't know, but anyway, we don't have to. We don't have to go on with that.
No,
anymore.
I mean, I suspect that it really just goes back to how everything just spiderwebs into each other. Like when we were talking about the guys that complained that the there's only 2 viable guns. Like I bet if they didn't change any guns, any ammo like values, pen or but I bet if they changed the recoil mechanics, like that would be a completely different thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like people think that they should buff a gun, but like if they made that system better, I bet that would make people feel better. And it's the same thing where it's like if they fix these other things, the networking and the scavs and stuff like that, then that means less like needless deaths, less like completely getting cucked by the game, and that makes it feel better because you feel like your stuff lasts longer. It also informs like that informs how I loot, by the way. Like I'm been getting like absolutely hammered by my chat nonstop because I normally have like 12 slots in my inventory at any given time. My stash is full to the brim. I don't like to buy cases either. I'm not one of those like 12 thick case Andes. To me, cases are loot graveyards because I get a case, I fill it up, and then I fill the rest of my stash up with loot, and then I use that readily available loot. And I never opened a case. I got my thick items case. I got my thick items case from the quest. I filled it with armor. I've never used a piece of armor out of it ever, because it's just like, but I have some armor right here. Why double click on my thick case? I've got armor right here. Anyways, it informs how I loot and what I keep. Like the reason I've never once experienced that, like in the past 3 wipes Veritas, is I don't buy guns. I have 60 of them without the pistol.
But you also play
stuff.
squads and you insure your shit, so you get so much back in insurance. Once a day, I'll maybe get back 1 rig and 1 gun.
Yeah, but like when I get out of a raid thick, I don't sell any of the guns. You know what I mean? I just take the pistol grips off, and it's like, so now if I can't,
it must be nice to get out of a raid thick.
So now it's so like, you know what I mean? So like that's part of it too, is like I loot like there's like the way I loot and the way I keep my stash, it's like there is no flea market. Like there are no traders. Like I loot like I am everything. Like I'm going to keep every round of ammo. I'm going to keep all the guns. I've got weapon cases just full of attachments. Every time I find a good, like the waffle, I don't run 545 AKs very often, but every time I find the waffle suppressor, I take that off and I put it in a weapon case. Cause it's like when I want to run it, I don't want to spend 100K on the flea market for a waffle suppressor. I'm going to need this one day. And so so my stash is just full of full kits all the time. Always. I've got armor, helmets, guns, pistol grips, mags, ammo, always. And I so rarely have to buy any of that from the flea market or from the traders because I just like to. No, and my stash is atrociously full. But I don't know. It informs how I loot and how I play, and I play like that. Like everything is scarce, and I don't know. I like it.
I think that's a good way to look at it, honestly. Especially with the setting of the game, it's like, this is valuable. If you remember back, when the flea market was first implemented, you could buy basically anything at any point, whenever. There was no essence of scarcity, or it was just like, okay, I want to run this. I'm just going to get 1 billion rounds of whatever, and off we go at like level 7 or something. Yep. And I think at the moment, like the sort of illusion of scarcity, which kind of informs us to pick up as much as we can. Like, I found like 120 rounds of BS. Like exactly like what you're saying about the waffle suppressor. Like, I don't really use 545 AKs, but I'm like, nice little box of 120 rounds of BS. Yeah, I'll keep it, man. Stick it in my container or in my bag or whatever. Get it back to the stash, and I'll just pop it in my ammo box. And it's, whenever I feel like same with 762 BP as well. I'm constantly crafting it. So like, if I ever want to run some 762 BP or 545 BS or whatever, like I've just got this stash there, a stash of stuff, and I'll run in the meantime like 45 AP, 762 NATO, 56 A1 has been. I mean, 556 is absolutely dreadful for some reason at the moment, but if I'm going to use 556, I'll run a bit of 55 and 56A1.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it all circles round this kind of like this idea of you're not going to be able to run what you want all the time. And, you know, different players are going to be affected by that idea differently. But I think the core idea is there. I think the core idea of like, you're not going to be comfortable. You know, you're going to have to run stuff that you might not want to run, you know,
but you can if you play all day and you buy every reset and you survive a ton so that you can pick it up. You know what I mean? That's like there's no scarcity. You said the illusion of scarcity. That's the problem is like the reason why they had all these limits, right, was to make things scarce. But when was the last time you looted someone that was more than level 20 that was running 855?
Yeah.
Nobody. Everybody, all they do is they switch from gun to gun to gun, and it's meta gun with the ammo and meta gun to the ammo. There's no scarcity. Like we're at the point now where,
for sure,
it's the same 5 guns, just over and over and over again with the same ammo and the same kind of attachments. So there really isn't the scarcity. You know what I mean? Even with the limits. So I would much rather have it.
Yeah.
I would much rather have it be that you can't buy any of the fucking no 855A1, no 856A1, no 995 on the traders, and make it so that there's boxes. Because as long as everybody is running 855 90% of the time, well then it's a different game. The game will feel better because the fights will last longer, and when you do wear the shit that you have, you know, if you do have a level 5 armor, it's actually going to be meaningful. You'll still die to people all the time, and they'll be able to take it, and they'll be excited, you know, but you'll die less to the, you know, the stock SKS guy who happens to get like the, you know, a chest or a stomach shot on you. But no, see, that's the problem.
I see what you're saying. We're halfway.
They're all in the game for a reason.
Yeah.
And they don't achieve that. All they do is just make it inconvenient and annoying. They don't achieve, I think, what they're set out to do, which is to make things scarce. Yeah. You know, and to change the meta.
Yep. I agree. We've got the seed of that exactly like you were saying, pushing you to be uncomfortable. You can't use whatever you want whenever you want. But some of the leftover mechanics basically turn that into a game. Like you're saying, Veritas, if you can play the game of just bouncing around reset to reset, in a week you have what I have, which is an ammo box full of all the appropriate ammos and a few of each gun. And so like you played the game changed. You played the game, now you can use whatever you want, and the scarcity isn't there. I think we took a step in the right direction by the flea market changes, right? Like we took a step, but I agree, man. Like, why is it that 80% of the ammo boxes I find in Raid Keter ammo? Like, come on, baby, let's upgrade this. Let's put some 5.56 out there, put some 7.62, and then maybe take some of these things away from the traders and create some real scarcity. I think we're moving in that direction, but yeah,
it's all ammo that's good at level 1 traders, and they're limitless. You know, the fucking 9x18.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Dan?
I was just going to say, we also need to remember as well, like, we can't get ahead of ourselves here. We play the game fucking 25 hours a day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a tricky one in that sense as well, because like what portion of the player base realistically do we represent? You know, without seeing statistics, it's you know, maybe you've seen, you know, like hard numbers and stuff like that with regards to how long people play. Maybe it's worth putting out a nice like a poll or something. And I saw a couple of guys in the chat as well saying, you know, I've got like 2 or 3 hours to play here and there, and the resets really affect me because, you know, we've been seeing trader resets. Like I think I saw Peacekeeper, like his next reset was like in 2.5 hours. And for some people, like that's a whole play session. Yeah, that's like someone gets home from work, they have some dinner, you know, they say to the partner, or they look after the kid or the pet or whoever goes to sleep, and they're like, right, I'm going to play some Tarkov, and they've got 2.5 hours, right? Yep. And they've got fucking you
got 90 rounds. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they're like, oh well, shit. And it's really, really tough because there's such a diverse
For sure.
And varied player base. Like Tarkov is full of people who have an hour a week who are, still enjoying and trying to get into the game. And like I say, 25 hours a day. And everybody's put in the same map. And like how do you as a game designer, like how do you cater for that? How do you cater for the person that has 1 hour a day to play and the person that has 25 hours a day to play? How do you put them both in the same raid and try to deliver them both the intended experience? Does that make sense?
By making it totally RNG based, by making it so that pretty much every round can one tap you if they hit you in the ear or the face, and how if you just sit there with your back in a corner and someone running by, if you just go clink, you can kill them. That's one of the best parts of the game, and it's one of the worst parts of the game, because you spend 20 minutes going through the shitty menus and building the thing that you want, and you're all excited, and and then you're running along, and then you're back in your menu again. It's like, oh, wow, it was fun gameplay.
Yes.
But for that other dude, he's looting that shit, and he's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
100%.
Yeah, dude.
100%.
So,
and you're really onto something there. And once again, you're exactly right. It's hard to, and people, and I just feel like oftentimes people don't say what you're saying, Dan, which is like, how do you how do you balance that? Because if you're somebody that plays only 2 hours a day and you want to have access to, 300 rounds of arbitrary ammo, it's like, well, then you have to understand that Joey that plays 12 hours a day is going to have access to an unlimited amount of it, right? And if you want, and it comes back to, there's just so much like finger pointing. It's like, well, it's got to be better for the casuals. It's like, no, I want you to be able to sit down and play Tarkov for an hour or two and have a good experience. But you just have to remember when you point the finger at something, that means somebody else wins. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the Chads have too much ammo. Get rid of the ammo. It's like, well, you're getting rid of your ammo too, buddy. Oh, I only play an hour. I want to be able to buy all these guns. Well, that means they get to play with it too, buddy. And I think that just off the top of my head, I think kind of back to what you were saying, Veritas, about this is an extreme example. I'm not saying we should do this, but let's say all of the traders, all the traders don't sell ammo at any level other than level 1. All the traders have their level 1 ammo, and as you upgrade proper to level 2, 3, 4, there's no additional ammo. All that is found in raid. That means that whether you have 2 hours or 100 hours, it's all dependent on what you do in the game, engaging with the game. If you only play an hour a day, then you don't need an ammo box full of BP. You only really need a few hundred rounds. So if you engage with the gameplay, you find that ammo and you're saving it up, it kind of scales with you because you only find 90 rounds, but you're only going to use 90 rounds tonight. So I think anything being moved into the gaming experience, at least in my brain, smooths that curve out a little bit, as opposed to the out of raid experience of just being able to buy things on Trader. You know what I mean? Because then I don't have to work to find, if 762 BP was found in raid only, you know what I mean? I can't just get it whenever I want. I have to go find it just like you have to find it. You know what I mean? I'm going to play more, so I'm going to find more, but I still have to work for it. You're actually forcing those Chads to work for the thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It all comes down to how not only is Battle State in many ways I'm being generous here, not great at game design, but also that the community is largely brain dead when it comes to game design too. They rather than look at you want a thing, what you should be doing is figuring out what is the result you want and then work backwards from there. We don't want scarcity. What you want is to be able to not have metas, to make it so that you're excited to find things, all of these different things. But instead everybody goes, we want scarcity. Oh, then the solution is turn down the quantity of things. And it's but no, when you have infinite people and a flea market and it resets every 90 minutes, the problem isn't solved.
Yeah.
Right? They just think, oh, scarcity equals less supply, which equals turn down the quantity that everyone can buy and or that any individual can buy. it's just such a shallow interpretation of it. It's the same thing like I've talked about before, I think, like with data science and analytics, about when I worked in the robotics industry. We wanted to know about the user experience. We wanted to know, how often people were failing setting up, the clients were setting up their robots and getting them up and running and doing whatever they needed to do. And the problem was all of the product and marketing people were like, we want to know, how many people get to the end of this process, or we want to know how many people, use this feature. So all I did was track whenever they went to use the feature. You just say they used a feature, and then you have a bunch of data points. But then it was like, well, now that we know that, 80% of the people click on a feature, we don't know why 80% did or why 20% didn't, because you didn't ask the right question. You didn't say, why aren't people using this feature? You just said how many people are.
Yeah.
Which is such a shallow interpretation of it.
Yeah.
We need to figure out, and by we, I mean the developers and the community, need to think about what is the actual goal? What's the experience you want?
Yeah.
And then work backwards from, well, how can we do that? As opposed to just saying, here's the result I want, and then let's just do whatever the first thing that comes to mind to do that result.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? After I just fucking rant. What do you think? Respond to my 7-minute rant.
Oh, mate, it's tough. It's really, really tough because, and it all comes back to the end user, right? What does BSG want the player to experience? Like, what is it that they want us to experience? Like, once that is solidified, like you say, you can work back from there. You can say, right, this is what we want the player to experience. This is how we want the player to feel. We can put measures in place to make that happen. And there's a lot of really creative ideas going around. There's a lot of people saying, oh, maybe we should try skill-based matchmaking. Maybe we should try doing this. Maybe we should try doing that. That sort of thing. Like, and I think a lot of it comes down to just, like I say, the diversity, like the sheer diversity, especially now more than ever. Like, back when we all started, I personally started in I think it was 0.4, which was like sort of end of 2017. Nobody relatively knew about Tarkov, and I think back then there was the niche sort of player that BSG were targeting. I think those players made up a much larger percentage of the audience. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the target. I feel like back then the target audience made up a greater percentage of the total audience. Versus now. And with patch 12, back in, I think it was 2020, like the massive marketing boom and everything else, and this whole I don't know if it's like beautification, but like the whole thing about PvP. Like I don't remember before patch 12 really this kind of like worship of PvP. It was kind of just like beating the game and like leveling up your traders and getting the gear. Do you know what I'm saying? Like those were the objectives. Now, like it's like you said earlier on, there's a lot of this focus on PvP, like being the most competitive and being the best player on the map and all this sort of thing. Now I know we're sort of going off topic a little bit. We're kind of looking into the future here, but obviously with Arena, when Arena comes around, I think that I'm not going to say it's going to solve a lot of problems, but I think what will happen is it will kind of like split the player base, or not necessarily split the player base, but give players an avenue to kind of like enjoy the parts of the game that they enjoy. Does that make sense? I don't know how we got here from like austerity and and scarcity, but it all boils
Such a British
down.
term, austerity.
Austerity.
Yeah, we've been experiencing that for a few years. But it's like, what does BSG, like, what do they want us to experience?
Yes.
Now, the main tagline of the game, Escape from Tarkov is a first-person online hardcore action RPG
With
simulator. Like all these different buzzwords, like
Yeah.
all kind of crushed together. I always wonder sometimes, like, is it worth going back and revising that and saying, like, okay, we're trying to hit too many buzzwords here, like RPG is like over here in sort of in many ways, like thinking about games, and then like simulator is in the terms of like game genre, it's like RPGs over here, simulators over there, but like BSG's trying to put it all together, and I guess that's kind of what we have now, and it creates an amazing experience, but also creates a lot of problems as well, because I feel like maybe there's perhaps a lack of focus on like what do we want the player to experience, and it all keeps coming back to that in my mind, at least.
I agree, and I think what's hard is that like they don't. I love BSG, man. They're amazing people, but I feel like they don't communicate exactly what you said very well. What do they want the player to experience, right? Like Nikita loves to throw around these like really high level, like, choose your own meaning. Like it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hardcore. You know what I mean? And that means, what is that? What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like,
pain and suffering is
like
the answer that everybody jumps to.
Yeah, his like, I mean, you were on the cast, I think, Dan. What was his response to yo, the Santa thing was weird and a whole lot of people messing up their karma. His response to that was, sometimes you just suck.
Yeah. It was like, sometimes, you can't win them all.
You can't win them all. And so, like, I think that Nikita has a clear vision in his head of, like, what he wants this game to be when it's finished and what he wants the player experience to be. But I don't think he does a very good job of communicating that and setting that expectation. Yes, he says a lot. The game is gonna get harder. He says a lot, and I think that's him trying. He's trying to be like, no, we're gonna add permadeath, and we're gonna add claymores and RPGs, and like the game's gonna get harder, guys. The game's gonna get harder, but that's not very clear. And there's a lot of substituting, a lot of projecting. People project what they want out of Tarkov, and then that directs their feedback on what should change. And it's not, we don't really have this like guiding light, this North Star of like, you know what I mean? In the Star Citizen community, there's like 30-page documents that Chris Roberts wrote back in like 2012 that like the community goes back to when changes. They're like, no, like, this is what you said you wanted the experience to be. And that has its own problems. But like the Tarkov community is the complete opposite side of that. Some people want infinite ammo. I just want to be able to shift W around in PvP. Some people want more PvE. Some people want PvE servers. Some people want, it's like, and we're all playing the game and we all think that our version of what Escape from Tarkov is going to be is the game that Nikita is making. And so our feedback is, and so it's just like, I'm all that to say, I agree with what you're saying. What does BSG want the user experience to be, and how do they reverse engineer that? And I think that, like, gun to our heads, none of us really know what he wants it to be.
I think they can achieve. I think they can achieve what they want and make a game that's still enjoyable. For all kinds of players. Like I'm fully convinced that that's possible.
Me too.
But I mean, a lot of it comes down to like what the community wants and what they demand, and all of the conversations that we have. Like, I don't know about you, but I constantly, because I'm talking about UX and menus and shit, I constantly hear this game is about being hardcore and it's about suffering. And then they use that to justify that it takes 150 clicks to get into a raid.
Yeah.
And it's like, Nikita doesn't want you to not enjoy playing the game.
Yeah.
It's not about being miserable playing the game.
Yeah.
Like Nikita wants you to feel like an intense, you're like a god when you have these fights, and it's amazing and it's realistic and it's immersive and your heart's pumping. He doesn't want you to throw your mouse and break your monitor because of frustrations.
Yeah.
He wants you to just fucking die a lot.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard and it's going to be unforgiving and it's going to be challenging. But that's different than being pissed off and miserable because of certain aspects of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like, we can't forget about that.
Yeah. And freaking going full circle, talking about games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, you know what I mean? Everyone used to say Tarkov was the Dark Souls of FPS games. Like, think about that. Like, think about Elden Ring or those Dark Souls games. You're always 100% of the time in the game, experiencing the game. And when something goes wrong, those games are hard. Those games are hardcore, but they're not counterintuitive. They're not like, you know what I mean? 60-minute loading screens. They're not like when you die, you just go back to the last bonfire and now you know you just run straight back to where you want to be. You're just right back in the game. And so like, I think that is kind of to your point. It's like those games are ridiculously hard. Those games are not for everybody, but they're lauded as some of the best, most well-made games ever. And that's where like, easier said than done. I'm no game developer, but like that's the rub with Tarkov right now. It's like people say, you know, people hear that it's supposed to be hard, it's supposed to be brutal, it's supposed to be the Dark Souls of that game, and then and it's like, and then people try to defend to us in chat. Oh, that scav totally should have one-tapped you with his Makarov from 200 meters away, man. Game's supposed to be hard. Oh, you're supposed to get the move error bug, bro. You never know when you move something in your stash if it's gonna stick. Like, it's supposed, no, like, all that's bullcrap, all that's counterintuitive, all that's not good for the player experience. And if we can, and that, I mean, that's just, I keep saying it, but if we can carve all that out, so much changes. How guns feel changes, how raids feel changes, how the limits feel change if we can carve out all of that crap. But I totally agree with what you're saying. It's like, it's not an excuse. It's not a catch-all. Game's supposed to be hardcore. You know what I mean? You DC'd from the raid, get good. It's supposed to, you're supposed to feel like you're in the game at all times. Experiencing and experience the game wants you to experience at all times.
I love what you say about staying in the game. That's something that I noticed as well in my short time with Elden Ring. It's like when you die, you're like, oh, well, fuck, I'm dead. And then it just slaps you straight back into the game. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go this way this time, or I'm going to go and do that instead. A couple of things come to mind, and I completely agree with what you're saying. And just to throw a couple of like mechanical ideas out there, stuff like full loadout presets, for example.
Veritas. It just perked up.
You know, within reason, you know, just going like, obviously if you can't purchase it because of like trader resets and stuff like that, then obviously you're not going to get it. It's just going to go beep beep.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't purchase these items, but it got you everything else and applied it to your character, let's say.
Yeah.
Another thing is the amount of time that you spend loading into a raid. Like you can take in some instance, like, I don't know, 27 seconds to load into a raid, and then it's like fucking 4 minutes waiting for players or synchronizing or whatever. Like, I know that these are things, especially with like the loading times and stuff like that. Like, I know that's something that is going to be improved. So I'm not, you know, I'm not sitting here blind to the fact that, you know, oh, it's going to stay here. That's how it's going to be forever. But you know, just as a kind of way to get it into our minds, like why are we getting frustrated when we've just spent, you know, 25 minutes, half an hour on a raid to then just get one tapped by a cracked scav with a Makarov? Like, and V said it as well. Like the frustration doesn't come from losing your gear, especially for more experienced players. It's more like, holy shit, I've got to spend fucking 15 minutes now getting back into a raid. Like, sure, you can go and do a scav run, and that's what I've been doing. You know, if I die and it pisses me off, I'll just click scav and go. Like, click scav, just go wherever I want, boom, run around, have a chat with chat, and it kind of like diffuses my frustration in a way, because you're getting back into the game. But, you know, I feel like there's a lot of areas with regards to like getting back into the game, which could certainly be improved on with things like loadout presets, optimization of the getting into the raid experience. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we were waiting like 8 minutes for a lighthouse the other day. Like, you can quite easily spend more time loading into a raid than you actually fucking play. And
100%.
That is extremely frustrating, especially when you're losing that 100 rounds of M80 that you got on the only reset of the day for your play session.
And that's exactly what And the thing is that like so many of those things are subconscious. We so rarely point to those things as frustrations. We so rarely point to how much time we have to spend in the menu. You know what I mean? Like I agree. It's just going back to what Veritas was saying. Like I don't know. It's just, it doesn't often come out as those things. It comes out as, oh, like the spawns are terrible, or this map is terrible, or the AI is terrible. And like, we don't often peel the onion back to like, man, stuff like that would vastly improve the experience. It's why I don't understand. I'm like, this isn't some like high and mighty, in my opinion, is better than yours. I don't understand how people are like anti-open world. It's like, it's just Tarkov. Like, who wants to be in the menu? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm in the raid more. Like, who? I don't get it. Like if I could just be in the raid for as long as I want and literally walk, open a door, go through a 4-second load screen, and now I'm in my hideout, do my stash management, and just walk back out. Like, I get so confused. I'm like, who? Like, I hate the menus suck. Like, I don't want to be in my stash. I want to be playing the game. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I don't know. I just don't get it. So. But stuff like that, and yeah, like me and Veritas have talked. Did you ever play the Cycle, like the Cycle Frontier, when they did their beta test in?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and one of the things that I complimented it on was like, you in the hub world, you're like, okay, boom, 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 get my quest.
Yes.
Run over to the launch pad thingy. You click start raid,
boom, you're
and then
in.
it's just like boom, you're dropping in, and you're like,
exactly.
And you're like, whoa, what the fuck? You die, you're like, I lost all my stuff, but no problem. I could just
boom, you're right back in.
Launchpad, bam, and you know you're going for it. And yeah. Sorry, I'm getting excited. Thinking about how fluid and
100%, and that's we've talked about that,
awesome.
where it's like I know that like it would create its own set of problems, but like think about how many of the things, like something like that, like a living server for each map that's just like always up. You know what I mean? The spawns wouldn't be nearly as bad because you didn't know if somebody spawned there or not. Extract camping would be a lot harder to do because it's like I don't even know if anyone's trying to extract right now. You'd get into raids in 30 seconds as opposed to 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, stuff like that would just tremendously improve.
Imagine if you could create a default kit that was all items that had no limit on traders. Maybe like a Vepr, like
with PS rounds, or
with PS rounds, 3 mags.
Yeah,
this helmet, and then so you could just, if you die, one of the buttons rather than like go to menu would just be like, preset whatever for customs, and it would just load you back in. It would take the money.
Yep.
Like whatever.
Oh my God.
But like what Dan explained earlier was literally the video that I made. I spammed the fucking UX command. The video I made in December of 2020, which it literally fully designed the UI, and basically I talked about what the backend would need to do, and it was minimal work. Like some of these features, I'm confident could be done in a day or two, by the dudes at BSG, because they're just a couple of windows and all the same APIs. But like the quick sell feature was, you right click on an item, hit and then sell, and then it has a window that has all of the fucking prices for all of the traders, and you can just hit sell, and then at the bottom it has the flea market price pre-populated with like whatever the lowest ruble value is currently right now. Maybe it could be an average, whatever. And it's like you had that, and then the next feature was the preset system. Like imagine on your stash, when you're in your inventory, right above your fucking earpiece and face cover, if there was a button that was loadout or save loadout. So imagine if you just hit save loadout and the pop-up popped up with a fucking text field, and you could just say default loadout, save. It's literally one button and a pop-up.
Oh.
And then from there, it's all back-end work that they wouldn't. It's not like it's anything complicated. It's all the same shit that they have now, to where you can hit loadout, and it would populate everything, all of the mags with all the ammo that you want. All of your hotkeys for all of your meds could all just be fucking persisted. And just imagine being able to do that.
Think about how many years of life would be saved. How many man hours.
And then the third feature I had was the raid preparation screen. So literally, how you have your insurance, then you have, the insurance is like 2 screens, then you have the map selection, and then you have to, figure out if you want to heal and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I literally just made it so that when you go and you click on Escape from Tarkov and you click next on your PMC, the map screen is as it is right now, except without all the empty space. Move the map to the left, and on the right-hand side, there's 3 like little modules, and one is insurance, the next one is armor repairs, and then the next one is healing. So you can go insure all or whatever, then you can go heal all and
repair
everything. It's like, put it on one screen, make it 2 or 3 clicks, and then you're in a raid. Like, so many of those simple things make it so that it's not fucking terrible to die 10 seconds in.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, I forgot about that video. Oh, I can't believe that was like a year and a half ago. And we'd all have like the quick sell. Like, like how many billions of clicks, needless clicks happen? Like when you get out of a fat shoreline raid and you didn't even get many PMCs, you've got like junk. You've got like 63 individual items. And it's like, click, therapist, sell. Wait, no, I think that sells better on the flea market. Put that back, sell. Okay, right click this, sell that on the flea market, that one thing. Mechanic, sell these attachments. Wait, no, chat's like, no, that sells for 80K on the flea market. Back, boom, but like unreal. Like, how can we not be in our stash and just sell things to whatever trader we want? Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, bro.
Dude, I counted. I timed and counted. It took me 100, and I had everything I needed except for like 2 things to buy. I had all the armor in cases. I had magazines. There's a couple little things I needed to buy, but it took 156 clicks to get in a raid. And that was just opening up and I didn't even count double clicks, by the way. I counted those as 1. It was like click on character, you click on character, click on your fucking thick case, alt click on your armor, alt click on the swordons, grab your fucking, 1 click for every single item. And then you have to go and buy all the ammo and drag it into the magazines and grab all your meds. And it's like, why, dude?
Dude, it's crazy.
And it would also save their fucking servers, because rather than if you went load preset, it would be 1 request, not 857 server requests. It would literally be better for performance. Ugh. But Nikita told me 2 years ago, "Oh, I appreciate it. Looks good, but we're already working on it." Well, okay.
Still working on it. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
What do you guys think about dailies right now? Is it the solution that everybody said, there's no replayability. Oh, dailies are going to fix that. To me, it's like, I do 2 of them. 2 of them I'm never going to do. 2 of them I will do. And half of the time I can just instantly like hand in shit I have in a junk box.
Yeah. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Dan. I actually had kind of like an epiphany around this earlier today, but I want to hear your thoughts on how the dailies and weeklies are.
Here's my thoughts. Stop fucking giving me 17 lab survivals, because it ain't gonna happen,
dude.
I'm not gonna do that. Honestly, I'll get 11 survive labs 11 times. I'm like, no, so I don't accept it. And then the next week, survive labs 17 times. I'm like, still no, bro. Dude. I'm not gonna do you know what I'm saying? Like, look, it's just crazy. Like, we need some sort of system to maybe you can like re-roll one of them. And I'm not even gonna this isn't even me talking about the lack of variety. And I know that it's in its first iteration. I completely respect that. But like, I would love to just be able to re-roll, like have 1 re-roll per task. And if you re-roll it and the next one's even worse or it's shit, then hey, fair enough. At least you had a choice, right?
Yep.
But it's so frustrating that it's like, kill 9 PMCs in the left leg from 80 meters away on this specific map. Like, I don't want to do that.
No way.
Like, I don't want to do that. And I know that it's fair. It's like fair enough. Like, I don't have to go and do those dailies, but like, I would like to, because it's a nice,
for sure,
feeling of like, oh yeah, cool. Like, we achieved this small thing. Like, oh cool, we killed 20 scavs. That's awesome. Like, I really love those tasks that are like, kill 20 scavs anywhere.
Yes.
Like, it's like, okay, cool. Or kill 50 scavs with headshots, but anywhere. Like, give me the choice. If I want to kill those scavs, like if I want to go crazy on it and do it in let's try and do it in 1 raid. We'll go custom, see if we can get 20 in 1 raid. Or like, go factory and try and get it there, or whatever, just the one thing that makes gaming interesting for me is choice. Yep. And I with the operational task, man, like I would just love more choice and more variety.
Yeah.
And like it was great when it first came out. Like, oh, cool, you get XP and a little gift for for killing 10 scavs. Like that's awesome. And like tomorrow maybe we'll have something else that's really enjoyable as well. But like when you've done, I don't even know how long they've been out for now. Like we're coming up to like probably 4 or 5 months, maybe something like that.
Yeah, because it was a little bit before the wipe they added them. Yeah.
Yeah, and one, again, there's not unlimited replayability, and I know that they're working on more complex and more interesting sort of operational tasks. But like right now, that's my feedback. I'd like a way to just get rid of them, or
give us
perhaps,
10 and let us choose 3.
Yeah.
or that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I completely agree with what you said. We've talked about it before about like I would love for like one re-roll a day. I think that would be great. I don't think they necessarily need to give us 10 and let us pick 3, because I honestly think that they shine when they force people into uncomfortable situations. So like what you were saying earlier, Dan, where it's like, you can't buy any more AKs or mutants. What are you going to use? You know what I mean? Like I don't normally play Factory, and I get to choose. Do I want 30,000 XP for killing 30 scavs on Factory, or do I not want to play Factory today? I like that it pushes you, but some crazy overhauls need to happen. Like the map needs to be the only stipulation. Kill PMCs on customs, cool. Do not tell me what gun to use, and do not tell me I need to do it in their left leg, and don't tell me you need to do it from 160 meters away. Mine today was 9 PMCs on interchange from 100 meters. Where the hell am I going to get 9 PMCs on interchange from 100 meters? It's just the spawn.
Shooter born in heaven?
Yeah, it's just going to be the spawn. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'll just run out of the raid. So, and like the other day I got like 11 PMCs with M67 grenades. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
what?
dude,
I've got 2 M67 kills in 4,000 hours. Like, so like Veritas, you were said, what do you guys feel about dailies? Is it everything everyone hoped it would be? Sometimes I think yes. I've gotten glimpses. I've gotten days where my find and transfer was a thing I didn't have, but I knew where these things spawned. So I'm going to go looking for them. It was kill a certain amount of PMCs on this map, or kill a certain amount of scavs with this map, but no, whatever. Like I could do however many this, and I had to survive 3 customs raids, and I got all 3 dailies done, and the amount of like excitement I got in getting all 3 done, in like, that was like 90,000 experience. That's a ton of experience. I got all 3 done, and it wasn't for a second like, Seal, where do you want to go? I don't know. I mean, customs has been fun. I guess we can keep doing customs. Yeah, I guess we'll like. It was like, oh, we got to do this, and your daily's here, and you got to do this. It gave me purpose. I was rewarded. Sometimes you get crazy rewards. It shows me glimpses of that, of like almost exactly what people want it to be, but so often they're so bad. I went on an absolute tear where my dailies and weeklies were incredible for like 2 weeks, and I've been on the complete opposite end of that now. Like I think I've completed 2 dailies in the past 4 days because like they're so bad. And my weekly was, I forget what my weekly was. It was like kill up 9 times or whatever. It was just like, yeah, right. I don't know. It was. So I think it does. I think it's almost there. And I do want it to push people around, because I think that's what people need. Like everybody hates the task, but we all do them because it gives us a sense of accomplishment, right? You know what I mean? So I think there's a balance to be struck there. If you give me 10, I'm just only going to pick go kill scavs on woods because I love playing woods. You know what I mean? Everyone's just going to end up right where they always are. The flip side of that I've been thinking about a lot, the endgame quests do not get as much love. They're some of the best quests in the game. The 1 or 2 of them are terrible. The one where you have to like kill the PMCs at like the pier and at the
specific locations.
Yeah, that's bunk. So many of the endgame tasks get no love because so few of the community complete them. The hunting cultist one I think is great. Dude, the Swift one, kill 20 PMCs on woods with no armor. You get that dope train hard armband. I think that's a great quest because you don't need armor on woods. You can be light, you can be maneuverable, and you can snipe people. Today, I was playing with Valiant. I was like, yo, where'd you get the Untar armband? He was like, yeah, there's a quest where you have to do something. I don't remember what it was, but it was behind a quest I had to kill a bunch of raiders. So many of the endgame quests are so good. I've done so many of them. Like there is so much to do past level 42 now, more than there has ever been in the past. It used to be you get max traders and you either go for Kappa or you're done. And then they moved Kappa up to 72 and that was like ridiculous. And now it's 62. There's so much to do, bro. There are so many endgame quests. There's cool cosmetics you get in the armbands. A lot of them have a bunch of XP. The dailies are not there yet, but they show me glimpses of it every once in a while. And I really think if they fix the dailies, if they made them better, there is a tremendous amount of meaningful stuff to do in Tarkov past level 42. They got to reel in with the dailies. Ugh, some of them are just so bad.
They suffer from the same failures of the normal quests.
Yeah.
And which is why some of them feel good and some of them don't, because it's like all they can conceive of is, well, you kill people, so you gotta kill people in this specific way, with this specific thing, with this specific methodology in this specific area. And it's like, can you be more fucking creative?
They just do too many of those things. Like one or two of them is great. I got a daily to kill 5 PMCs with an SR1MP pistol. But anywhere. I was like, this is great. I was like, I never used the shrimp. This is cool. And so I deliberately chose to run pistol bolty. I never run pistol bolty. But because I had to kill people with the SR1MP and I was killing people on Lighthouse, I was almost done with my play session. I only needed 2 more, so I went factory. It was like, but how is that different from the M67 though?
It's your preference, which they can't design it.
No, it's the whole community's preference. No one's ever said that quest was cool. I'll plant my flag here. That's dumb.
Okay, but I mean, maybe that specific one, right? But like, you know, you love woods. If I get one that's kill 20 PMCs on woods, well, I guess I'll see what I'm doing tomorrow, because I'm not going to do that one because I just don't feel like playing woods right now.
Yeah, but I think there should be a level of that.
But what if it was just kill 20 PMCs?
I agree. I think that should be it sometimes. I think, once again, I think a certain amount of them should divert you to a place you don't go. Like, I'm not saying it should always be kill PMCs with a gun or kill PMCs on a map. I'm saying it should sometimes be that. Because, like, if you complain that you have nothing to do and all you do is play factory, and then it's like, hey, for this really cool reward, go play any other map, and you're like, nah, screw that doesn't let me choose. It's like, no, well then just play factory and don't complain about it. I think it's like sometimes, and we shouldn't. What the problem is, too many of those things get on. It's like kill PMCs on interchange with a shrimp from 80 meters away in the leg. It's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, give me either a gun to use or a map, but not both. And even those things, only sometimes. I do like sometimes I get just kill 25 scavs. I do like sometimes I just get kill 10 PMCs. I don't think we should swing so far the one way where it's like that the daily tasks be do what you were gonna do today. Here's free XP. You know what I mean? Then it's like, why even have them? You know what I mean? Like,
that's why I like having, if they give you 6 or 7 or whatever and let you choose, then it's a whole bunch of restrictions. I mean, think about all of the places you could go, all of the people you can kill with all of the guns. Like, the chances that you're going to get, 3 that are exactly what you were planning on doing every day, I mean, it's minimal, right? Like, there's always going to be one that you were going to do, which is cool. It's like free, whatever. And then there's a couple that might change your play style a little bit, right? So it's like there's a middle ground.
Yeah.
Because you feel like shit if all of the ones you get are not things that you want to do, even if they're out of your, like the M67 ones. Like, no, that's just, I already did the grenade quest, and I could use any grenade I wanted, and it still sucked.
Yeah.
So I think there's a middle ground. I think you can make it so that you get taken out of your comfort zone, and switch things up a little bit, while also making it so that, like, you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree that if they gave us more, they could do more restrictive ones, because you could like choose to pick them or not pick them. But I'm saying, like, if they're only going to give us 3, like, I want them to be somewhat restrictive. 6-1 brought this up, and I actually agree. Well, he didn't say this exactly, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. I think they should show you the rewards before you accept it. I don't know if the whole, if you fail them 5 times in a row, you get worse quests. I don't know if that's in the game or not. I think they should take that out. I don't think there should be an accept. I think if you get a quest, it should show you the rewards, because then your decision, the restrictive quests should have better rewards, and that informs your decision. Maybe today you're down with some shenanigans and you're like, holy cow, that's a lot more XP and a freaking green labs card, but I gotta go kill people on woods with a freaking shotgun. And you're like, you know, but by showing me the reward, that informs my decision for sure. And I just don't really accept them if I don't want to do them, so that I don't see like, and you can't see the reward. And a lot of times, because I'm trying to test out if it really does like give you worse ones. So I don't know.
I don't do a lot of them. Like every day I'll fail 2 or 3. I'll randomly be in a raid and all of a sudden it's like quest failed. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
it's just the dailies from the day before.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that, because back in the day it was like, you know, only on like the bullshit quest or whatever,
Yes.
when you fail and you're like, no.
Or the guide, you die and you hear
yeah.
that sound and you're like, screw you, game.
But yeah, I mean, so far I haven't noticed like major. I don't think it's implemented
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know either. I don't think so.
I just got my weekly, and it was eliminate 35 PMCs with headshots on factory.
See, you love that.
200, yeah, exactly. And then the other one is exit factory 7 times. It's like, sweet. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, but 200,000 XP, 630,000 rubles, and the best part, there's 2 GP coins and the Veritas guitar pick. I'm like, Nikita, did you make
you
Come
dog,
on.
you.
But
I
yeah,
also,
I mean, that's I'll do that in 6 raids.
yeah,
I'll get that before survive 7 times.
Yeah.
And that's a weekly.
I don't think there should be any dailies and weeklies on labs, personally. Like, I just think that's like survive. Like Bazinga did survive 35 labs raids for a weekly. Like, how much money does that cost if you don't win every raid? Like, I think that's
not
stupid.
even that, but you can only buy 1 card every couple hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, per reset. Yeah. So
It's
not-
like impossible unless you're a streamer that every
Like-
time you do a viewer kit, they drop you 3 cards.
And maybe not, but like I would be a-okay with just like no dailies or weeklies on labs. I feel like it would also be easy to explain in the lore. It's like, you're not supposed to be in there. You know what I mean? Like, nobody would send you in there. I don't care. I just think I think it's instantly, I think like 99.99. I think the only people that that complete labs related quests are the people that were going to play labs all day anyway. It has like nobody goes, you know what? I'm going to go labs today. I'm going to finish this quest. Nobody does, dude. It's just like,
I don't know. I bet you there's probably a few that
7
are
people,
probably like
7 people
I've
on
been-
planet Earth.
I mean, it survives 7 times or 35 times. Like, yeah, sure, there are. You know, nobody's gonna come out of their comfort zone and try to do 35 labs raids, right? But if it's like, you know, survive on labs for 10 minutes or something, ignoring cheaters being, you know, an issue or not, you know,
Like
But I mean, even that, like, survive on a map for X minutes, like that'll
That'd be
treat you're
kinda
gonna play
cool.
slow, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're gonna avoid PvP.
That's
you know,
actually
like,
a good one. Yeah.
but there's so many other things they could do. Survive, defend an area, you know, visit different areas, you know, like loot X containers. Like, there's just so many fucking things they could do, but they made it Mad Libs with these 5 things.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yep. I got Survive Labs 4 times through the no backpack extract. It's like, you mean that you want me to buy a 200,000 ruble key, go
No
in,
loot for you.
kill a bunch of stuff,
Not
and leave
loot
my
anything.
loot behind? I was like, what are you talking about, game? No! Like, it's so...
hey man, that's Tarkov.
It's hardcore, baby. Yeah, so...
adapt and overcome.
Dude, adapt and overcome. So I think the dailies have so much potential. Like I think they have the potential to be what they were hyped up to be. I just think that it's balance, like you were saying. It's balance between giving the player choice. It's balance between it doing a good job of nudging the player into new experiences while not requiring them to go too far out of their comfort zone. Like, that's the balance, I think. I think the dailies are the best when they do push you in some way to go play a map you don't want to play or haven't played before, but it's not like eye roll, no way, I'm not going to do that. But on the other side of that, I don't want it to be, I don't want to give you the player so much choice that every day it just ends up being, well, I was going to do this today, so I can accomplish my dailies doing that anyway. Like, I just don't think, like, why have them in the game then? Why not just give me a daily login bonus of 100,000 XP? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so.
Dude, I feel like I have to say this. I don't think we've actually talked about this before. But someone in chat said something that's so common that really, really grinds my gears, which is the idea of like, well, it's just a work in progress. Yeah, that's the point of our feedback.
Yeah.
Everything's a work in progress until it's the final thing in the game. And if you don't fucking speak up and say what it is you like or you don't like, then all of a sudden 1.0 will come out and these will just be the quests.
Yep.
It's like the fact that they made all these quests that have all these issues with them, and then they added daily quests that are basically just miniature versions of the same things, some of them good and some of them bad, means that there's some fundamental issue with like the design of the quests.
Yeah.
So talk about those things, make it be known so that everybody, it can be like a conversation between the community and the devs, and then the work in progress will actually get iterated on and improved.
Yeah.
Don't just dismiss people complaining or criticizing a feature because it's a work in progress, because that's literally, when you say work in progress in a beta, the point is release something and see how it is and listen to feedback. So
yeah, it's tricky. I think a lot of people, I'm not going to use the word defend, but I think, you know, we're all super, super passionate about the game. Obviously, we want Tarkov to be the best it can be. Like, and I encounter this a lot as well. You know, especially in this panel as well, like not blowing my own trumpet, but like, you know, V and Jesse, incredible minds, like great thinkers, really like objective and you know, able to think about things outside the box. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing wrong with criticizing something that you don't 100% agree with or don't enjoy or whatever. Like that is the whole point of the game being in this stage. If BSG didn't care what their target audience thought about the game, you know, they would have just run it and got all the pre-orders and whatever, and then just slapped, you know, 1.0 when they felt like they were happy. Boom, like there's the game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they want us to have these conversations. They want us to talk about the game and say what we don't like and say what we do like. And you know, whenever you speak with me about Tarkov, like it's usually about 50-50. I'll tell you, you know, if you ask me about a feature, I'll say, well, I like this, this, and this, but I'm not too, you know, I'm not massively fussed about that, and this, you know. And that's the whole point of these conversations. For sure. So, you know, guys, don't feel the need to like defend the game. Don't feel the need to like inform. And again, I'm not blowing our trumpets, but I mean, I've got coming up to 9,000 hours in the game since November 2017. We've got V and Jesse, who, you know, got thousands of hours as well. Like, you know, we live and breathe Tarkov. Do you know what I'm saying? And we want the game to be the best it can be for the target audience. Who BSG have set out to, you know, make this game for.
And to me, you're absolutely right. And to me, that's the difference between like, how did this conversation on dailies start? V said, what do you guys think about dailies? It's the difference between what do you guys think about dailies and tweeting inertia sucks, right? Like feedback is the difference. What do you guys think about this? Let's talk about it. What works? What doesn't work? What's positive? What's negative? How can we make it better? Yeah, like, of course it's a work in progress, and this is what work in progress looks like. Feedback, talking, you know what I mean? But just like tweeting or making a Reddit post, this sucks, take it out. That's not feedback. That's not, you know what I mean? So it's, which once again, I get sometimes everybody needs to just gamer mold a little bit. The amount of times I've on stream said the AI is broken, I hate this game, all-time high. You know what I mean? We all have that moment, but like, exactly. It's like, we need to be able to have these conversations too. You know what I mean? Like that. Yes.
So often the defense though is it comes from the assumption that like, if something is in the game, it must be intentional. Which is, you know, like, oh, it's the same thing about the number of clicks in the menu.
Yes.
It couldn't possibly
be
that,
intentional.
that they didn't consider the fucking user experience, you know, when they designed the feature. It couldn't possibly be that. It has to have been, how can I post hoc rationalize why something is the way it is? Must be intentional. They must fucking just hate your guts and want you to be miserable. So
dude, you both played today, right? Played Tarkov today. Like you've been on earlier. Did you stream earlier, Dan?
Yeah. Was
Okay.
on for
So
about
we did
7 hours.
They did this patch, right? They fixed they reverted the jump height. Dude, the word spaghetti code came up in my head so many times. This patch, they tweeted, they were like, technical update, we reverted the jump. That was all they gave us on the info of it. Have you guys opened a scav vest today?
Yeah, and the WT rig, they're both.
Have you seen that, Veritas? Like, what? They fixed the jump and the scav vest got reoriented. Like, and I was just like, talk about spaghetti code, bro. I was like, how did that happen? I don't know, man.
Well, I'm sure that when they on the other side of it, there's always a million things that go out with an update.
Yeah, more than they say, for sure.
Yeah, like whenever we would come up with features, we'd have 72 bug fixes and then one feature, and we'd say there's bug fixes and also we did this feature.
But like, so what the hell could have happened? Like, they didn't. Like, it's obviously not intentional. Oh, I feel like it's obviously not intentional. Like, what the hell could have happened that made that reorder? They didn't add any new rigs. They didn't change.
Maybe they fixed a bug with some other rig, and here's an idea. All the issues with dragging around magazines and ammo, when you fucking end up with all those inventory desync and glitches, maybe they were trying to fix something related to that, because over the last month that's been a big issue, right?
True.
Yeah,
and the guy
assignment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just fucked something up big time related to that. But I'm not defending that they don't have spaghetti code. I just doubt that they're directly linked.
I didn't say. I just thought it was so funny that such a like random off the wall bug came on one of the patches. We got like the least amount of information on what the patch included, and I was just like, man, I just thought it was funny. But
yeah, hopefully we'll get like hey guys, we fucked it up, we did this or we did that. It would be nice to get some sort of like feedback on that. I think more realistically it's going to be fixed, and it is going to be fixed an issue
for sure
with the scav vest and the WT rig, boom, and it's done. Because I think it's our morbid curiosity in a way. It's like, well, why did that happen?
How?
And, and if BSG gave us an explanation for like not only what happened, but like why it happened and everything else, like I don't think the game would get done. Like that's like a full-time job.
For sure.
Somebody explaining, oh, we tried to fix this, but then this happened, and that, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it could be, and this is just me being hopeful, but it could be something to do with an experimental feature regarding the customizable rig system that we're hopefully looking forward to soon. Like, imagine if they're messing around with how pouches are displayed. Like, I don't know. That's just
me doing the back end work on that. I mean, hey, that'd be sick. That's an optimistic way to look at it. I love it.
Yeah. And it's tricky, isn't it? It's really hard. A lot of people do criticize PSG on their communication, and they've got so much better, in my opinion, over the years. But there is still, of course, a ways to go. But I mean, does the, and I don't mean this in a derogatory term whatsoever, but does the normal player like need to know why the scav vest doesn't display properly? Do they just, not at all? They just need to see it fixed, right? So it's it's a tough one, but
for sure
it could be fucking anything, man.
Give me the code. I want the code. Give me the code.
Give code. That'll work.
Give code.
I want the gold.
Give code. All right, so Veritas, your audio video came out recently featuring, I think, both of us. I think Dan was in it too.
Dan was the best part was that I did the audio test with Dan first.
Yeah.
And then I clipped that and then used that because we did it over Discord, and it was like an ad hoc, like last minute thing.
Yeah.
On stream via Discord. So then I clipped those tests, and then I was using those clips to test everybody else. So that's why when you look at like the grid of all the tests, you just see Dan in the background, like, one more time.
Just one more time.
Dude.
But yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say other than I'm glad it's finally done. The feedback from everybody has been
It's very good.
overwhelmingly positive, which I'm like, everybody basically said it was 3 hours and it was worth it, as opposed to, you know, oh, you should have made it fucking. There were like 3 people out of the thousands. There were 3 people that were like, this could have been said in 10 minutes. Okay, bro. Like, good luck trying to do that. You know, have fun condensing everything I talked about down into 10 minutes. But overall, yeah, I think it was a great success. Yeah, I'm super happy.
It was, dude. It was so good, and it was so. I learned so much. I knew so much of that stuff, and I learned so much. I'm curious to see. I had this thing in my chat earlier where I was like, Veritas would be like your eyes would have been able to roll any farther in the back of your head. I had 2 people arguing, 2 people that had both watched the video and misunderstood it, and they were arguing about what Steam audio was, and I was like, this is so meta. I was like, how did you watch that video and walk away confused? And it was, dude, it was so funny. I literally was like, we have, like, shut up, chat. Like, we have to stop talking about this. So I was wondering if you had any, like, fallout of people that came in and felt overly educated but missed the point completely.
The only annoying part. So first of all, whenever someone's like, can I get a TLDR? Most people have said, use Steam audio. And that's actually not really, that was a part of it. That was basically me demonstrating the benefits of it and also talking about the, you know, the downside. I actually, there were 20 pages of that script that I ended up pulling out. And unfortunately, one of those pieces was like the case study with Dan, where it was talking about how some people just don't. There's something about the HRTF that whether it's phasing or whatever, that it just doesn't jive. They just don't like it. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of studies that shows that some people's, you know, shape of their ears and shape of their heads doesn't work. And I talked a whole bunch about how Steam Audio literally you can add your own HRTF. Like, there are games that let you either have a drop down with different HRTF profiles or potentially even expose that to players to be able to customize.
Interesting.
But again, I ended up pulling all that stuff out because Dan was basically like, you can totally localize better and you can hear all this stuff. He's like, but there's just something about it that bugs me. And, you know, and it's like, the whole gist of the video was essentially do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. Just be educated so that you can make an informed decision. If somebody says, I understand it and I don't want to use it, by all means. Yep. Totally fine by me, right? But when they say, I'm not going to use it because it gave me a rash last time, and, you know, it's like, okay, well, you missed the whole fucking point. Yeah. But the only thing that I think has been repeatedly annoying, I don't know how I could have made it more clear, because I literally was like, don't use different fucking audio programs. Like, yeah. And everybody wants to come in and say, I know you said don't use anything, but what about this piece of software? Maybe could that screw it? It's like, fuck, yes, I don't know. Like, I can't know every piece of software. Yeah. Like, maybe, possibly, you know,
most
I don't
likely,
know.
Yeah.
The whole point is that, like, there's so many things that can go wrong. Every single piece of audio software, unless you specifically know what it does and you understand it, it could very well fuck everything up for you, you know? And then a few other folks basically said, like, oh, you told me not to use compression, but I'm a fucking audio engineer. And it's like, when people who are experts, when they make rules, the rules are there for 99% of the people. And when you are an expert in something, you know what the rules are, and you're the ones that know when the rules should be broken. Yeah. And it's not for you, right? It's not for the expert. Yeah. It's basically, I'm trying to keep the sharp objects away from the masses. You might be a fucking samurai trained with a whatever. I'm not talking about you. Yeah. But as soon as you say it's possible to set up compression in a way that doesn't completely fuck you, then 95% of the people go, I'm the special case that can figure it out, and then they'll go and use it. Yep. When really it should be 2%. Yep. So, yeah.
And then you get a load of DMs saying, or people in chat saying, I'm having issues with audio because, you know, regardless of how far somebody is away, they sound like they're the same distance away. And it's like, well, what audio settings are you using? Oh, I've got my compression maxed out. And it's like,
Yep.
well, fuck.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and then they're like, oh, what does compression actually do? And you're just like, you know, it's, yeah, I've always tried to educate everybody that I come across, not like forcefully. I'm not like, you know,
for sure,
some sort of weird kind of fucking teacher in that way. But like, I'm saying, look, guys, you know, try to run as little external anything as you can. Like, I literally, I have keyboard, I have mouse, neither of which have software. I have monitor, I have computer. That is it. Like, that is literally it. You know, I've got a sound thingy bob. Audio interface just so I can power my headphones, but that is it. And I try to say to as many people as I can, like, look, guys, you know, use what you're comfortable with. If you like how binaural sounds and works for you, by all means, you know, go into an offline scav war, for example, and just listen and go, oh, that sounds great. And just, you know, if you don't like it, like in my 99.9%, well, the inverse of that, case, you know, when I use binaural, like, it makes my ears feel funny. It kind of like makes me feel a little
so
bit
interesting.
like, you know, so I switch back and
so interesting.
Absolutely fine. But yeah, and I think part of the problem is, and obviously, you know, anybody that's into audio will know, like, especially with the gaming world, like gaming keyboard, gaming mouse, gaming fucking sucks. Like, you know, everything is just like forced down players' throats. Like, you need this gaming audio software so you can hear every enemy at all times. And it's unfortunately like, and it's not the player's fault because not everybody has a fucking degree in audio. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know, sometimes I need to check myself and be like, look, dude, you know, not everybody has this experience. And they're just trying to, you know, I've been told that this will help me hear anything, because you know what, you have a look on fucking headsets and stuff, like the old Turtle Beach headsets from back in the day, like Xbox. It's like, you know, hear your enemies with true 69 fucking .1 surround sound, and it's like, you know, like it's just marketing in a lot of ways.
For sure.
You know, buy this headset because you will be more competitive, and it's hard, man. It's so difficult for the players because like it's a really, with audio, like it's such a, as you can see with the video having to be 3 hours long, like this one tiny fragment of like audio in the world of audio, like this one tiny fragment needed a 3-hour video to explain. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how complex this thing is. And it's like, I fucking take I'm not wearing a hat, but if I was wearing a hat, I'd take it off, because V's done a tremendous job at explaining like
it's
I mean,
crazy.
it all comes down to like, it's not, the whole point of that video too is that it's not just audio. It's when you're interested in something, when you're invested in something, educating yourself on it and asking questions gets you so far. Whether it's medicine, politics, no matter what it is. If you're interested in it, educate yourself. Again, like, I didn't know about compression and how it worked until a couple of years ago when I was messing around with music stuff, and people are like, use a compressor. And it's like, I could have just slapped on a compressor, but I wouldn't have known what it was doing, and then I wouldn't have been able to use it properly. So I had to Google and watch some YouTube videos, and there takes a little bit of skill to figure out what's good and what's bad information. And knowing like who to listen to, and then, you know, who to ignore from like the experts. But yeah, just knowing how to ask questions and being interested in learning gets you to the fucking 5-yard line.
100%. And understanding that, like, if you aren't interested and if you don't want to learn, then don't pretend you have an informed opinion. And because I think that's what so much of it was, is it's like, so much of that video wasn't like, I think some people think your video was 3 hours of why you should use Steam Audio. This is Veritas's expose on why you should use Steam Audio, and you're stupid if you don't. And if you watch the video, it's literally the exact opposite. It's if you want to decide for yourself if you want to use Steam Audio or not in Tarkov, you got to know what it is. And you got to know what it is. You got to see that with binaural off or on, that dude jumping right there, I'm not going to hear it because that's not binaural. That's just the way they occlude stuff in Tarkov. So then you can make your informed opinion. It's not at all, you should do this. It's, if you want to know what you should do about something, you need to know what that something is. You don't pick a car before you know what a car is. You know what I mean? You gotta learn what it is. So that's why people are like I've had people be like 3 hours though, I just can't be bothered to watch. It's like, that's cool. Then stop telling people what to do with their audio. Yeah. You do whatever you want, but it's like, if you just told me I am unwilling to be informed, then stop telling people you have an informed opinion. I can't make, like, if you don't care about the audio in Tarkov, like, that's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be interested in everything I'm interested in. You don't have to, but stop telling people you have an informed opinion. Like, inform yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just so weird, like, I've always thought it's so weird.
Don't give medical advice if you're not a fucking doctor.
Our whole concept of time, like 3 hours, that's insane. It's like, dude, you're going to watch 3 hours of YouTube today. Like, you know you are. You're just going to do it in 8-minute chunks. You know what I mean? It's like, just watch this video. You know what I mean? Like 3 hours, but it's like, I've got 63,000 hours in World of Warcraft. It's like, then watch.
They'll debate with me for 3 hours on
chat,
stream.
Yeah.
Telling me why my video doesn't need to be 3 hours and they're not going to watch it.
Yeah, it's wild. So it's just like, that was what I loved about it, is it was so not 3 hours of why you need to use Steam Audio. It's just like, here's the information. If you would like to, educate yourself on this and then decide for yourself what you want to do. And in that process, I would say that 99.99% of the people that play Escape from Tarkov would learn a whole lot about how the audio in this game is actually processed, how many things are just broken, period, whether you have binaural off or on, and really be amazed at how much of their opinion is wrong. I was. You know what I mean? I've been talking about Steam Audio so much, and I learned so much in that video. So it's just like, and that goes back to what you're saying. That's how you educate. It's just like, just here it is, man. Here's the information. You decide what you want to do with it. So
today's podcast sponsored by my fucking YouTube video.
Yeah. Sponsored by Veritas' YouTube video.
Checks in the mail.
So yeah.
For sure. I think a really important part of the video for sure was the identification that the binaural setting was not causing you to not hear people on stairs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That was the biggest misconception.
Yeah. By
I'm
far.
So glad that. Yeah, I'm so glad that it was debunked, and it was like, look, guys, you know, regardless of if you've got binaural on or off, if you stand in this location with how the occlusion zones work, you are not going to hear this dude because of how occlusion zones work, how it works with sound passing through solid objects, etc., etc. Obviously, I'm not going to do a full recap because I'm sort of
for
preaching
sure
to the choir. But yeah, you know, identifying why, especially something like audio, you know, because it's like 50% of your senses really. Because when you're in the game, you've got vision and you've got hearing, right? So when 50% of your like sensory experience is kind of like lying to you or not giving you the information that you should be getting, that's like a massive part of the game experience. You know, like the actual being in the game. And I think you know, this isn't obviously, I hope that BSG can look at the video and go, okay, cool, so you know, here's where a lot of the issues have been identified. You know, let's work on maybe streamlining and you know, really getting to work on this audio and getting things working. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, Dan, what would it take to fix the audio in Tarkov? And like I say, like, if we had unlimited time in an ideal world, it would be a complete redesign based on you know, all the materials in the game working in conjunction with all the modules of Steam Audio with regards to like reflections, occlusion, all that good stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And like that would be incredible. That's like it's essentially like RTX, like real-time reflections and stuff, but for your ears, right? It's like RTX for your ears.
Yeah.
Like that would be just insane. It would,
Oh my God. Tarkov
whether
with
it's
the full Steam audio would be out of control. It would be so
And as
good.
far as I know, they already have a build. It just doesn't perform well on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like on low end machines, on most machines, or whatever. But like, and that is less about Steam audio being inefficient and more about Tarkov being unoptimized.
Yeah.
It's already like fucking
Yeah.
choked, to death. But like, it's already in the game.
Yeah. My theory is that they're kind of racing to these new Unity, because like the last time that Nikita was on a podcast, I'm pretty sure he was talking about how like, yeah, like we're looking at moving to Unity 2020, and like the amount of time it took for us to get to Unity 2018, and then it took like 18 months to get to Unity 2019. The fact that just 5 months ago we got to Unity 2019 and he's thinking about Unity 2020, at least my rationalization is like they're trying to like sprint to a newer version of Unity that either gives them some tools or allows them to optimize the game and / or Steam audio to be able to put it in.
Yeah, no, I mean, updating to the next version is going to be significantly easier. Like the closer you get, the easier it's going to be. It's almost like it's way more steep. If like a mountain was steeper at the bottom than it was at the top.
If you're on
kind of
Unity
thing.
2017 and you want to get to 2020, that's really hard. But if you're on 2019 to 2020, it's not
and also not to mention that if you want to incorporate like a huge module like Steam Audio, a lot of times it's imagine if you wanted to run Tarkov on Windows NT, like Windows 2000, like. Unless you have a fucking copy of, I mean, that's a bad example, but like, there are certain things that probably just don't work at all, because unless you're on an older version of Steam Audio, like maybe they gave them a special version from fucking 3 years ago or whatever. It's so much harder retrofitting. It's like putting a modern day supercharger and trying to fit it onto a fucking 1965 Chevelle. It's like they're different bolt structures, you know what I mean? It's just like it's just not the same. So
hopefully
I have a feeling.
Yeah. Hopefully they can rip up to those new versions. We were talking the other day about how like I wish they never used the term Steam Audio. Like if they had presented to the community like, hey, we added a new option called binaural audio, which should help you localize targets better. Period. Everybody would be using it. You know what I mean? It was just like they called it Steam Audio, and then Steam Audio was supposed to be the thing that fixed the audio. And then this narrative broke that there's two audios. There's Steam Audio and there's regular audio. And which one do you like better? And it all just like broke down. And then it was like, yeah, but with Steam Audio, I can't hear in the stairs. Like if they were just like, man, here's a button you can press that can just help you pinpoint where the guys are. Everyone would be like,
every
sweet,
other
you know what I
game.
mean? Like
CSGO, Valorant, every other game, they just have like an HRTF fucking checkbox.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what I mean? I feel like everybody would have been like, oh, cool, you know? But like the fact that Steam Audio was thrown around and then we weren't properly educated by them, that even like, hey, this is the first module of Steam Audio, but it's not really going to change anything, and it's only one of many modules. It was just, I'm pretty sure in the patch notes it said first iteration of Steam Audio. And like the first iteration of daily quests is daily quests. Like we have the thing, you're just going to tinker. So first iteration of Steam Audio makes me think that all of it's in, all you got to do is tinker. And it just like...
It's like the first iteration of VoIP.
Yeah, it just like tore the fabric of reality, and everybody was like, old audio, new audio, Steam Audio sucks. And it's just been like a year of that. And
now you know why it was a 3-hour video.
Yeah, he had to sew reality back together, chat. That's why it was a 3-hour video. Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's fucking probably pretty close to Dan's.
Yeah, Dan. Sorry for keeping you up all night long.
I'm going 24 hours.
I'm ready to go. Oh no, but man, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. This is it's super fun. We love having people on and getting their opinions and their like kind of perspectives on the game. And yeah, like V was saying earlier, we both respect you a ton and know that you love the game the same way we do, which is like you enjoy it, you enjoy playing it, but like we said, we have that constructive feedback. We like talking about the potential of what it could be, and maybe some ideas on how we can get there and how we can get a little closer to that. So thank you so much for coming on the show, for sure.
Yeah,
My pleasure, man.
everybody go check out Dan.
Yes, please.
I guarantee you, he's one of my favorite streams if I'm just like working on a video or editing or writing script in the middle of the day, you know, because he's like 5 or 6 hours ahead.
Yep.
It's one of the best streams to just chill and hang out in, for sure. So everybody go check him out.
Yep.
And again, thanks for like, I think like 4 hours ago, I'm like, Dan, you want to be in the podcast? Like, and he was like, oh, it's really late. And you fuck it, let's do it. So thanks for being flexible, dude. And
man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
For sure.
Oh no, honestly, like at the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure we went through a few periods tonight where you were like, Jesus, when is this guy gonna shut up? Like honestly, I just talk
about me. About me,
no,
yeah.
No, I'm just saying, man. Like, you know, I could happily talk about Tarkov forever. Like,
yeah, man.
It's such a, I can't even describe it, and I'm gonna make a real mess of it, but like, it's such a unique experience that I've never had in my life. And you know, having the chance to speak with some absolutely incredible creators such as yourself and be able to, you know, professionally like look after a community each day, like it's you know, I think it's important to understand that we are like streamers, content creators, YouTubers, like first and foremost, but like it would be remiss to think you know, at least in my position, like I think it would be remiss to think like that I would be in the position that I am if it without Tarkov.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know
For
what I'm
sure.
trying to say? Like,
For sure.
Tarkov is just a unique beast, you know, and we're all trying to tame it. We're all trying to say what's best for it, but at the end of the day, we're all along for the ride. And
For sure.
yeah, dude, I really appreciate you guys having me, and it's been a real pleasure tonight. Thank you,
Dude.
Can't wait to have you
100%.
on the second time.
Yeah,
So you can eat,
so
eat
it's
those words.
Not a once in a lifetime.
it's a twice in a lifetime
Twice in a
opportunity.
lifetime.
No, honestly, whenever, man, you let me know, and I'll be there.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you again. And guys, thanks for hanging with us live chat. This will be live on Spotify, YouTube early next week. And we'll be back next week with some more shenanigans. So thank y'all so much for hanging, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.